Hello, Internet. The Morgan You Know podcast network presents Balls and Brew.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Morgan You Know podcasting network. Thank you for joining us on this live broadcast of Balls and Brew, our sports show here. We're going to talk about some football up top, lots of football to get to, both college and pro. We're going to run a little bit of the fast break. It truly will be the fast break this week because we're going to give you a little bonus wrestling content at the end because you, even if you don't watch wrestling, can watch it in prime time. Even if you don't have a streaming network, you can watch wrestling in prime time this weekend. We will talk to you about it at the end of this show. That is a tease because I will serve as your professional host this evening. My name is Rod Morgan. I should have said that earlier. We are produced by a man who gets us on TikTok. He gets us on Twitch. You are watching us live right now, maybe on YouTube or Facebook. Maybe you're listening later as a podcast on Spotify or your preferred listening choice. Jimmy Jamriska, how do you do all that you do, sir? No, don't tell everybody all that stuff. We don't have time for that right now. But Jim, hello.
Rod, we are TikTok famous. Let me tell you, we've gotten more TikTok views today than I think we've got all our podcasts ever. But it's great. Love the interaction. And make sure, hey, everyone, if you're watching on TikTok right now, subscribe to the podcast. We do this every week.
That's right. We try to come to you every Thursday right around this time. During the football season, we have our handicapper, Josh Williams, on with us. During the NBA season, me, Chris, and Jimmy yell about who's the king, who's the queen, who's the MVP. Lots of fun stuff to be had. You'll find out soon enough. I mentioned his name there. He's my guy. He's been with us since almost day one here on the podcast network. One of the earliest guests we had on the shows. He's bounced around and done lots of different things. Well, frankly, because he's bounced around and done lots of different things for lots of years here on this planet. He's our old man. He's our resident Cowboys fan, and he's our Hoosiers supporter, cream and crimson through and through. It's Chris King.
Yeah. Big week for IU football, guys. I think we're all just as excited as I am.
We'll see just who's more excited. I think you and Williams are going to be an excited off. Jimmy is an employee of the university. My wife is an employee of the other university that they're playing. There's lots of connections to this college football game. But to make us sound smarter about it, we need our handicapper. He's our guy, Josh Williams. Josh, hello.
What's up, boys? Again, I went 1-2 against the spread last week.
Shocking.
You know me, guys. I don't like belly aching about results, but I had closing line value on both the Chiefs and the Cowboys. The Chiefs were up 13-0 at the half. Could not close the deal. And then Chris's Cowboys, probably the worst beat this year, maybe in the last like three or 4 or 5 years. I don't know. You're tied. Chris, we're tied 2020, like 2 minutes to go. And I have 6.5 with the Cowboys. What is the win probability of me covering that as the punt is getting blocked, Chris? It's got to be like 98%, right? And then Dallas touches the ball. It's like it's a new age Leon Lett. And then I'm still good, though. Like, Cincinnati can go down and kick a field goal. Like, that happens, 75, 80% of the time? No. Jamar Chase takes a little 5-yard out, houses it. I mean, I just cannot get a break here with these games this week. We're going to try and turn around this week.
Listen, let me flip that on its head. You are mad about that for betting purposes. I was excited about that for fantasy purposes because that was some points for my guy Joey B, right? That was like a 40-yard touchdown pass. So that's like 4 yards, 4 points right there just on yards, and then like 4 for a TD. That was like an 8-point score out of nowhere for me. That was huge. But we're not here to talk about fantasy football. We're going to get to the NFL game later. Chris alluded to it. I alluded to it. The college football 12 is out. But first, Jimmy, I'll be darned if something didn't steal the thunder from the college football playoff. Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Chapel Bill. Jimmy, let's go to you first. We don't go to you first, Jimmy. You don't get to start off the ball rolling very often, and I'm frankly bad for that.
Football.
So, Jimmy, you start us off here. Chapel Bill. What did you think this morning when you heard this thing was going to get finalized?
A couple days ago, I didn't really believe it. It's like, okay, he's trying to get some pull for some NFL teams, but apparently he just wants to coach. He brought in Lombardi. He brought in all these other guys. I'm going to miss Lombardi on all the shows that he jumps on. I love it. Why the heck not? They have money now and they can do whatever they want. So why not try to do something great in Chapel Hill? It's a beautiful campus. Why again? Drake May, Mitch Trubisky, a couple of top 5 NFL picks that have come out in the past decade. Let's go. I'm all for it. That's great. And he did say the Bears was the most intriguing job. So awesome. Lost out on that, coach. So there's that.
Yeah, I got some thoughts there vis-a-vis NFL. A few years ago, clearly a few years ago, Belichick was still coach of the Patriots, so he never would have thought about this. But I just think the more rigid college system that used to exist, Belichick wouldn't like this, but he could essentially turn his squad over every year down there in Chapel Hill if he wants to, right? Like, I think, frankly, that's kind of dirty, and I don't like a lot of that, right? Deion took a lot of guff for moving guys in and out of the program, but, it's possible in college football these days. So a guy like Belichick, who's prickly personality, he can run him in and out. Jimmy, you said it yourself. He's got a general manager, right? That's the way these college programs work now. So supposedly, Chris, he's not going to have to do a lot of the ins and outs. No, Chris, we're not going to go to you because all of our faithful listeners know what you think about this. We're going to let you close. You be the hammer on this. Let's go to Williams. Williams, Bill in Chapel. What do you think?
It's got to be one of the top 10 most shocking sports stories of the last 30 years. This is shocking, man. And yeah, Jimmy said earlier, Lombardi leaving VEASAN to go on Belichick's staff at Carolina. That sucks. He was great on VEASAN. Belichick wants this to be like a pipeline to the NFL, which I got a lot of respect for him in that way. Kind of like what the Mannings do with the quarterback camp. They're trying to get as many good quarterbacks in the league, and God knows what we need it. But man, shame on the NFL for voting Belichick off the island here, so to speak. Do these bozos even watch the NFL with how bad the coaching is in the league week in and week out? Belichick and his inner group were on Zoom calls over the last few months, and they were going over what spot was the best for them to try and win. And Jimmy touched on it. They agreed that the Bears were the top spot in the NFL. But if you read between the lines, they didn't want to deal with the ownership. So how about that? And one more thing. How are the Falcons feeling today? You could have had the greatest coach of all time, but now we're good. We're good with a 7-10, Raheem Morris. 4 years in a row, Raheem Morris. The GM, the president, all the assistants, they didn't want to bring Belichick in because they feared they would lose their jobs. You're 7-10, 7-10 the last 3 years. What are we doing here? They bamboozled the owner, Arthur Blank. It's complete. That's why the Falcons are irrelevant. They should be ashamed of themselves.
I love how Williams' Chapel Hill Bill Belichick take somehow ended up in slamming the Falcons. Somehow Arthur Smith also maybe still caught something there, right? Arthur Smith always catching from him. Chris, I'm gonna give you a little bit of credit here. You've been on the train of Bill Belichick is done as an NFL football coach. Bill Belichick is irrelevant. He's living on his old name. And I got to think that Bill had people reach out to these teams that have interim head coaches, right? And I got to think that he was told, thanks, but no thanks, old man. And that's why he took this job. So, Chris, I think you kind of get a victory lap here. And you're going to close our thoughts out on Belichick to Chapel Hill.
Listen, I was happy with this because this means there's no chance now of him coming to Dallas. So that definitely cannot happen. I didn't want to be put in that moral dilemma, all right? And I see this as typical Bill Belichick movement. He's kind of a coward. Be like, listen, I wasn't good enough to coach without Tom Brady to beat Don Shula and get those 15 extra wins in the 4 years I had without him. I couldn't get it done. I'm not going to try to go back and fail and that be my lasting legacy. I'll go to college and start something new. And if I fail, it's not the end of the world. I'm still considered by a great coach to many like Williams, and it's just not true.
Wow. We knew Chris was going to come with the thunder, and he absolutely did it. Belichick is a coward. You heard it here on the Morganino Podcasting Network. Hopefully that's the breakout TikTok from this week. Get Chris up on the TikTok machine right now, calling Bill Belichick a coward for taking the job at Chapel Hill. I just actually want to close with this. I love that we got floated that North Carolina wanted some youthful injection into their program, and that's the reason they let Mac Brown go, and then we got Bill Belichick. So, once again, it's just like never believe anything that boosters of a college university say to you whatsoever. There's no ironclad contract when it comes to college sports, other than you'll get your money, but nobody's going to keep you around for as long as the contract is. So Belichick could be gone in 2 years to come back to take the NFL. When he does, we will cover it. But what we should cover first is the college football playoff bracket. Williams can touch on all of the weirdness of the matchups because, quite frankly, they just seem weird to me. I understand that conference champions had to be given the byes, but why? Why are some of those teams having an easier run to the championship than, say, a few of the others? But the big matchup is the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame are taking on the Hoosiers of Indiana. Indiana still makes it into the tournament, clocks in, playing the Irish. I think it's great. I think it's great for Hoosiers fans that they can get here and don't have to break the bank. They don't have to get flights. They don't have to get a whole lot of that nonsense. I think it's bad for the Irish. And Chris, I'm not going to say what you think I'm going to say here. I think it's bad for the Irish that I think Notre Dame secretly wanted in Arizona State. They wanted somebody in Alabama. They wanted somebody that was going to come up here, get off of that plane and be like, oh my God, why are we here? I don't want to be here. Get me out of here. This is absolutely freezing. And the boys from Bloomington are not going to be saying that. They're going to be dealing with similar weather every day leading up to the game. So I think that's cool. And it's a historic matchup. I mean, who would have thunk it? You expand the college football playoff to 12 in the first year. You get Notre Dame versus IU, Chris. Even you couldn't have dreamt of that as a little boy.
No, I mean, and listen.
Because they didn't even invent football when you were a little boy. It came around when you were like 40.
There was soccer, let's be honest. But, okay, let's get past that, right? But IU did something that you were kind of against. You talked about it with Belichick and UNC. Cignetti came here and brought a lot of transfer pieces and created this aura around the IU football team with all these transfers and created this winning attitude that we didn't have before. So, like, this NIL era was essentially the catalyst to allow this to happen.
Let me be clear real quick. Kids want to come to you, that's fine. Telling kids they no longer have their NIL, no longer have a scholarship, that's not really what I'm on board with.
Yeah, no, and that's not always great. That's 100% true. But listen, it's a free world out there now, right? I mean, we all live and work in right-to-work states, so you can be let go and hired at will anywhere. So that's just the way it is. But listen.
All right, let's stick to football. Let's stick
I was
to
going to
football.
say, there's definitely a 25-minute rant on right to work out of Chris coming out of there real quick. Hey,
this is the greatest thing to IU football in the longest time, right? I mean, this is fantastic. The entire campus, I know you know, Jimmy, there's like, you can feel it in the air around campus this entire fall semester.
Guys, they changed winter commencement so people could watch the game. That is unheard of. You know how much goes into that? So much. They've moved it just so people could watch the game. It's an amazing time to be an IU football fan. And as a Notre Dame fan, this is a game Notre Dame loses. This is easily a game Notre Dame loses. And Williams, I guarantee you, it's going to be close, bud.
Cignetti's still pissed about the loss to Ohio State. He's not going to let it happen again.
Wait a minute. What does that mean? How many more times would Indiana have to play Ohio State before IU gets a win? How many more times?
One.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I think you'd have to play them 3 to 4 times before you beat them.
I'm a fan, Rod.
I'm just being honest.
How about this? The very first Notre Dame home game on NBC was against Indiana in 1991. The Irish haven't played the Hoosiers since. Now they'll face each other on ABC, the first ND home game not on NBC since 1990. How about that?
Look at that. Good stuff. See, this is why he's the handicapper, folks. He can even break down TV history, right? Don't ask him history of sitcoms, but sports on television, Williams has got it for you.
I think you're right, Rod. I think Notre Dame would have loved to see SMU or even Alabama, this version of Alabama, to come into a cold December South Bend night game, Friday night in December. I mean, that would have been great. I feel like people are kind of looking past IU here I think they got their bad game out of their system with the 2 horrendous special teams plays against Ohio State. I think Cignetti is going to have something for Notre Dame. And I just feel like this is unfortunate, not just because we're from Indiana and we're all Notre Dame and IU fans, but I think it's just unfortunate because I think Notre Dame has a real chance to win this whole thing, and they would have got a better draw had they got the 6th seed with SMU and then playing possibly Boise State. But then IU, I think IU actually could have made a run with this year's watered down version of the college football playoff if they didn't get a tough draw in Notre Dame. So I hate this because it's a tough draw for both teams here.
Jimmy Jam, where do you come down? First year of the 12, right? You got Oregon sitting there. Hey, congratulations. You were 13-0. You won the Big Ten. 2 other teams from the Big Ten are in the 12, but you might have to play Ohio State again in your first round game. You know what I mean? Like, just something doesn't seem right there.
Yeah, I think that's an easy change for next year. They're just going to do the 12 teams in order because I don't know how you don't expect something like this to happen where Arizona State wins and, Boise State wins. It happens every year. Some random team wins, the conference championship, and they just need to make the change real quick. It'll be fine. But yes, Oregon does have something to say. That stinks.
They sure do. Chris, your thoughts on the first year of the 12 before we move on to the game where they first got paid to play and then now they both get paid to play.
This is what we wanted, right? We wanted a tournament format for college football, and this is what we got. And for the most part, this is exactly how we wanted it to be. We wanted powerhouses from the big conferences with some great teams that maybe didn't quite get there, or from a lower conference getting a shot. So now they get to play the game. There's no more discussion about if they would have played, they could have won. You don't have that. Win your conference, get to your conference championship game. Don't lose more than 2 games for sure, and you'll get into the playoff.
Don't lose more than 2 games. I love how you threw that in there because your beloved Hoosiers didn't fit either of the first signifiers that you were throwing out there. Your Hoosiers who sit with 0 victories against the top 25 and the 67th ranked schedule. So I just think they need to put some tweaks into it. But one of the things that's cool about a system that you try out for the first time is you have to be smart enough to understand that the first time you try it, there's going to be things that need to be different the second time around. So I think Jimmy is right. I don't know if that's strictly going to be 1 through 12 seeded out that way, but they certainly will reseed after the opening rounds, right? And not just feed it into the bowls that way, right? They'll certainly do something along those lines. And the committee is going to change out, Chris. So you got to remember that, right? They might have different criteria that they think next year anyway. So I am happy that the Hoosiers are there. Okay. I think that you would have been an angrier, cussier old fart had the Hoosiers not gotten into this 12. So I'm glad that they got there and we don't have to hear that out of you. But now we'll find out, right? Now we will find out if you are right in the way that you keep basically metaphorically here, I'm saying, giving the double bird to everybody out there who is saying that IU doesn't deserve to be there. I'll show you. And now they get their chance, Chris. So we will find out on, was it December 20th?
It's a week from tomorrow.
Yeah, a week from tomorrow.
Friday night under the lights. I mean, it'll be the most watched football game that weekend probably.
Also, by the way, too, like who's shocked that ESPN got Notre Dame at home and Ohio State at home, and then the ones that are going on TNT were the other games? Who's shocked that it came down that way?
Yeah, how about this for your college football bingo card heading into the season? Navy undefeated 6-0 until they play Notre Dame. Army undefeated 9-0 until they play Notre Dame. SMU gets a non-automatic bid into the playoffs over Alabama. IU has their first 10-win season in school history, making the playoff along their way, defeating the 2 teams that played for the national championship the prior year, Rod. There is a group out there also trying to make flag planting a felony in lieu of the Ohio State-Michigan altercation at the end of the game. That's a real thing. Yeah. Chris can go 50 minutes on that.
It's not a group, it's a congressman.
Yeah, and Bill Belichick, disgusted with the NFL, takes a North Carolina job in the ACC. Absolutely unbelievable college football season. That script is so drunk. New Year's Eve, couldn't even believe it.
Wild stuff here. Before we haven't even closed out 2024 yet. Chris is laughing. I'm laughing on the inside, but those that know me know I don't actually laugh out loud. I just think things are funny, and I think that's funny and intelligent, but I just don't laugh out loud. But that was good stuff out of Williams there. Let's get even better stuff out of Williams here. Let's end the year on a high note, Williams. Let's start going 2-1 instead of 1-2 with the picks that we give to the people. I'm also excited that we got 3 big-time exciting games to talk about here, all right? You're not coming to me with some stinking Falcons play here. You're not coming to me with some Panthers thing, some Raiders against the spread, first quarter under 1.5. You're not, I don't know, you might actually do one of those. I shouldn't count my chickens before they hatch. But let's start out with possibly another contender for game of the year. Williams, let's just start right there. Those fighting Buffalo Bills versus those fighting Detroit Lions. The Bills coming off of a loss, but man, was that a fun game to watch. Lions do nothing but fun games. Williams, what do you got for us on this one?
Yeah, so this may surprise everybody. I've been picking against Buffalo against the spread most of the year, but not this time. I'm going with the Buffalo Bills plus 2.5. Josh Allen, 9-2-1 against the spread in his career indoors. 81%. And this Detroit D still has a ton of injuries. The Bills play a ton of zone. They hardly blitz. That's what you want to do versus this Lions team. Not because they can't beat the zone. It's because the Lions are the number one offense with a bullet versus man coverage. And away from home, when Allen is less than a 3-point fave or a dog, the Bills are 18-8-2 against the spread. That's 70%. And teams that have a 90% winning percentage in December are only 21-48-2 against the spread since 2003. That would describe Detroit here. Teams that are averaging
That's a wild stat. Wait a minute. Why do you think that is? That's a wild stat. Why do you think that is, Williams?
I think that's because the public inflates these teams. I mean,
okay.
And usually really good offensive teams, not as good defensively. We see a lot of outdoor December games.
By the end of the year, the number just gets a little too inflated to be able to support itself, basically.
I believe so, yes. Teams that are averaging over 28 points per game and have a 90% winning percentage in the month of December, like the Lions, are only 8-31-2 against the spread. That's barely 20%. And nobody has been worse versus running quarterbacks over the last 3 years than Detroit. I've mentioned that on the pod before. That's an actual fact-based stat. That's not an opinion. And you get the Bills here off a loss, now playing indoors on the turf, getting points versus an extremely banged-up D that has trouble containing mobile quarterbacks. I just think this is too much here. I think Buffalo's focused. Give me Buffalo plus 2.5.
Like that. The Bills have looked awfully, awfully strong. Jimmy Jam, I'm going to do what you love. I'm going to throw you a completely wild question that there's no possible way you can answer, but I think you're going to like it. Last week, we all know, was a huge, huge fantasy football league week, right? Most teams, basically, that was their last final week game. Teams were being determined to get into the playoffs, and our guy, Josh Allen, went out and got 52 points. So, Jimmy, I ask you, I understand all leagues are different with scoring, but was Josh Allen's performance last week possibly the greatest in fantasy football history because of the week that it occurred and the sheer number of points that he put up?
I think you also have to put in the fact that there was a ton of teams on bye. So that was even more when you've got your fourth or fifth receiver starting in perhaps your first round playoff or to get into the playoffs. So yeah, I honestly think, it's recency bias, but yes, that is the greatest performance of all time because of when it was.
And do you think he locked up the MVP there, Jimmy, or do you think we're still going to have some sort of a discussion about him versus Lamar or maybe Saquon sneaking in there?
I think it was Russillo who said, or maybe even Simmons, take Allen out. How many points does that change the game? Take Barkley out. How many points does that change the game? It's not even close. It's Allen. Yeah, he's got it. No question about it. Unless he goes on a 3-game losing streak here, then Patrick Mahomes will get it again.
Yeah, I think you might have something there, Jimmy. Chris, your thoughts on this? Your Lions, they look really, really good, but Buffalo looks really good right now. Williams is saying, I don't think he's saying the Lions are too big for their britches, but he's saying that teams like the Lions sometimes falter in this spot. What do you think here?
I'm not going to sit here and deny that Josh Allen is doing superhuman type things on the football field because he is. Right? He is that team. That being said, Detroit is not reliant upon just one man or one defensive player. They have been playing next man up, football for 11 straight weeks. We had a hiccup against your boy down in Tampa, Baker Mayfield. And ever since then, the Lions have just taken next opponent, next man up. Let's move on next week. So I can't bet against Dan Campbell right now. And this has been a season of the opposite of trends. Detroit's not supposed to win, and they're winning. Kansas City doesn't look like they should be winning, but they're winning. Things aren't going at all how a lot of people thought they were at the beginning of the year.
Cats living together.
It's mass hysteria.
You were right about that. It has been a wild, wild year. You know what? Since you said a wild year, Chris, look at you like some sort of podcast professional. You led me to our Indianapolis Colts because there's been nothing if not a wild year for our Colts. They have a wild offense that you never know exactly what you're going to get out of them versus the Denver Broncos. And Jimmy, I'm going to borrow a little wrestling parlance here. This is essentially a loser leaves town match game, is it not? I mean, whoever loses this game, they pretty much got the Broncos may still be able to sneak in the back door, but it's certainly loser leaves town match for our Colts, is it not?
I think this is loser leaves town for either team, yeah. I'm so excited to watch this game. It makes me nervous, though. Anthony Richardson outside in the elements. You never know what Denver's going to look like. I'm cautiously optimistic, Rod. That's all I can give you.
All right, Chris, I ask you, Your Cowboys, we know that you were riding hard for them. They basically were officially eliminated from the playoffs last week. You still got the jersey on, though, proving your fandom. So now all of your true fandom can go to the Indianapolis Colts. Before we get Williams' breakdown, I come to you. What are your thoughts going into this loser leaves town match for our Colts?
I mean, if nothing else, this gives our guys another type of playoff atmosphere game, right? This is how we have to go in every single week the rest of this season. If we win out, we're in, essentially. So we are in control. So this is playoff football right now, and I'm hoping our guys take it seriously.
I love what you said there again, Chris. You and I are vibing like we never do on a podcast here. What excites me about this game is this is a game we want to see Anthony Richardson in the future, right? So this is our first chance to see what Anthony Richardson can do in a game like this, right? Jimmy, you said it yourself. Outside, elements, right? Pressure, win or go home, right? First downs, like we're going to need a third down conversion at certain times that are going to be huge, right? We're going to need a completion that's going to be huge, right? We're going to need him to run and not pull himself out of the game. We're going to need him to run and maybe not come up with an injury and sit out a couple plays, and then Flacco has to come in and throw a duck, right? This is important in the evolution of Anthony Richardson and Jimmy. I have gone up and down with how I have talked about the Colts this season, but you got to back me up on this. The only thing I said was important this year was the development and the play of AR5. I was completely against the Colts sitting him down. So I'm excited to see what we got here. I want to see AR playing a game this pressure packed, and I don't even care if he wins or loses here, Jim. I want to see him play well.
I do too, but it worries me. Pinpoint accuracy is not exactly his strong suit. And again, Mile High Stadium or whatever it's called now in Denver, it worries me a lot. And also, those long passes he's so good at, is he going to be as accurate outside? So we'll see what happens. But I think it's the run game, dude. The run game. Jonathan Taylor has got to get it going early so they can establish that and then maybe get Anthony Richardson some of those passes.
All right, Jimmy thinks the run game. Chris and I are just excited for the Colts. Williams, you're the handicapper. What do you got on this game? You're probably going to talk Broncos here, which is probably fair considering we're mostly Colts fans on this podcast.
Yeah. Now, before we get to that, let me circle back to before. Yes. Take a shot. Before we get to that game, circling back to the greatest fantasy quarterback performance of all time.
Oh, nice. I should have come to you on that. You're right. My bad, Williams.
It might have been Josh Allen, but also the only other quarterback to throw 3 touchdowns and rush for 3 touchdowns in the same game. 54 Otto Graham. Chris won his first fantasy football championship that year. I think his team name was the Leatherheads or something like that.
Yes. So, wow.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Otto Graham just killing it back. Seriously, Otto Graham is killing it back in 1954. Okay.
I love that guy still comes up, right? He's like one of the old-time football players that still comes up from time to time, right? And there's one of the Otto Graham records right there.
What a baller, man. All right. I think I'm going to make you guys happy. Or maybe not with how my picks are going this year. I'm taking the Colts plus 4.5, minus 112 on DK. Get this, guys. The last 5 times coming off a bye, Colts 5-0 against the spread. How about that? Josh Downs practiced in full. He'll be back for this game. Michael Pittman was back at practice. Also, they get key offensive lineman Ryan Kelly back for this game. So the Colts are getting a little bit healthier here. Now, quarterback Riley Moss for Denver. It's trending towards him not playing. If he does, I mean, he might be limited. Moss is not a household name, but when he missed time in that primetime Browns game a couple weeks ago, the Broncos secondary, other than Patrick Surtain Jr., got lit up by Jameis and company. The Broncos had to bench the vet Levi Wallace because he was so bad. They had to turn to a rookie there just to get through that game.
To be fair to our guy Levi, Jameis has lit up many of people, all right? And then all Levi was have to do is play a couple more plays, and then Jameis was going to turn around and throw a pick 6 to him. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you know what I mean? It's a matter of numbers with Jameis.
Yeah, we'll get to those pick 6s in a second. Look, the Colts are only 2-3 here in their last 5 games, but those losses are to Detroit, Minnesota, and Buffalo. Those are 3 of the top 8 power-ranked teams in the league. In comparison, you look at what Denver has faced. They got a Falcons team right after the Cousins injury, or injuries, I should say. The Falcons were without 3 starters in the secondary for that game. Then you had the Raiders, who you were losing at halftime to, and you had to get a 90-yard pick 6 to swing that game. Then you had the Browns game, where you had to get 2 pick 6s against Jameis. So my main point here is pick 6s are not really sustainable. So the big question in this game for me is, can the Colts get pressure? I don't know if the public is aware of this, but Bo Nix, when pressured, 34th in QB efficiency. Now, when he's clean, he's been pretty good. We've seen the Colts D. It's gotten healthier. They've gotten better. Gus has to adjust here, which makes me a little nervous. He usually lives in cover 3. That has been Nick's best coverage to go against this season. But I will say a lot of that was due to the Falcons and all the injuries they had, and they didn't get much pressure in that game. So there's potential for the Colts to hit explosives here. The Broncos do their fair share of blitzing. And over the last 7 weeks, the Broncos are 25th, allowing over 9 yards per attempt to opposing wide receivers. And Indy could get the running backs involved in this game also. Over that same time frame, the Broncos are next to last defending running backs out of the backfield. I'm expecting a more up-tempo game plan from Steichen here off the bye. Richardson run rate increases when he faces the blitz, which he'll see here. He should be healthy off the bye. And look, you guys said it. The season is on the line here. The Colts know they have to win this game. They could be playing more meaningful football over the next 4 weeks. If they lose this game, they can kiss their season goodbye. And they should be extremely focused. And you know I love backing focused teams here, Rod. Give me the Colts plus 4.5 on DK. That line is down to 3.5 on FanDuel. So make sure you get it on DK if you like the Colts.
You never want to be ranked 34th when there's only 32 teams.
That's true. That's good math.
Chris, come on. We don't have to ask questions like that, all right? We don't have to ask questions like that. We just take the numbers in.
That was a statement, Rod.
A statement.
We take them in. Well, listen, I don't have to listen to you either. That's the other thing that I don't have to do, all right? Rod. I don't have to listen to you. All right. I want you on the show to say things to other people. I hope they're listening to you, but by contract, I don't actually have to listen to you. You forget that, don't you? We negotiated that for a long time. So your lawyer got back to my lawyer. It was a real thing. All right. I'm going to announce something.
A lot of behind the scenes baseball right there.
I know. You're right. I'm going to announce something important right now, that if the Colts do happen to lose this game and they unfortunately are not in playoff contention anymore, the team that I will throw all of my support behind is the Pittsburgh Steelers, baby. Let's go. Tomlin's crew, my guy Russ Wilson. I've always been a supporter. Let's go. George Pickens, he's simply misunderstood. I don't think there's a cooler wearer of aviator sunglasses in the entire world than Mike Tomlin. I love the Pittsburgh Steelers. I love Yinling beer. I love twice-baked potatoes. I love bridges. I love hills. I love Pittsburgh. I'm all in. Williams, what do you got for us on the Battle of Pennsylvania? And Chris, you'll get your time. I see you.
Wait, Chris, I thought you were going to root for the Steelers this week because you hate the Eagles.
No. The Steelers have beat the Cowboys twice in Super Bowls. I will never forgive them for that.
Okay. I'm going to go. Rod led me in there. I'm going to go Steelers plus 5.5, minus 105 on ESPN Bet. Tomlin here. We said it before.
No, Williams, let me just say this real quick. What more does this team have to do? What more does this team have to do to prove to the football elite out there that they are real, okay? The Steelers are out here dominating on defense, okay? They're out here running the football, okay? They are getting deep down the field shots. These are what we hear Williams talk about all the time. You have to be able to run the football, and you have to be able to challenge the defense, and you have to be able to get pressure on the quarterback. Hello, TJ Watt, Defensive Player of the Year. Hello, Russ throwing deep balls. Williams, I'm sorry, but I just don't understand the disrespect for the Steelers.
I got to be honest with you, man. Like going into this week, I thought I was going to back Philly here. I was all set to back Philly, and then I dug into the numbers, and I've totally done a 180. Honestly, we know that Tomlin is fantastic as a dog. He's 62-31 against the spread as a dog, 67%. And against the NFC as a dog, he's 17-9 against the spread. That's 65%. And as a dog versus a team with a better record like Philly, he's 31-11 against the spread, 74%. And as a dog between 3 and 7 points, he's 36-14 against the spread, 72%.
He's like a superhero. He's essentially a superhero at this point, and the NFL better crown him, okay? It's a friggin' shame that the man's never won Coach of the Year, and if they don't give it to him at the end of this year, when's he ever going to get it?
You're stepping on the future.
I'm sorry. I'm all fired up about Mike Tomlin, dude, because Mike Tomlin just does it right? And nobody talks about it, right? All we do is we talk about Tomlin. Oh, he hadn't won a playoff game. Talk to anybody that's ever played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they'll tell you that Mike Tomlin coaches football the way it's supposed to be coached.
Out of all those stats, this might be the most impressive. The Steelers, 5-0 straight up as dogs this season. Not against the spread. They're 5-0 straight up as dogs. So the Steelers D, top 5 in adjusted line yards allowed, top 5 in second-level yards allowed, top 8 in stuff rate. the Steelers D is really good versus mobile quarterbacks. Remember, they see Lamar 2 times a year.
And that's the thing, Williams. You always joke about the Steelers can't score points. You just said it right there. They don't have to score a lot of points because their defense ain't letting the other team score a bunch.
Yeah, and nobody comes close to limiting him like Lamar, like the Steelers do. And also, they saw Jaden Daniels this year. They held him to 50% completion percentage.
Hurts ain't even running, though, right now. You're giving away too much credit to the Eagles. Jimmy, I'm going to go here to you on this. Williams, that's great. You did well. Jimmy, I'm going to go here to you on this, all right? Could we have a further thing in coaching discrepancy right now than Mike Tomlin and Nick Sirianni? Okay, because Williams just said it right there. The Eagles have a great record. It seems like they should be flying high. And what are we hearing about in Philadelphia this week? The quarterback and the wide receiver fighting with one another, right? What does the coach do? Oh, the team's fighting. Like, honestly, could we have a bigger discrepancy between Nick Sirianni, who seems to be holding on for dear life, and Mike Tomlin, the absolute, judge, the old warhorse in the NFL?
The Bears, the Raiders, the Patriots. There's a lot of teams that are worse, but yes, I get your point. Sirianni has such great talent that think about if any other of these top coaches were coaching the Eagles right now, we would be talking about them on the upper echelon and not the Lions or your Bills or even the Chiefs, because everyone kind of knows what's going to happen. They're going to have a good regular season. They're going to make a stupid decision in the playoffs, and they're going to lose because that's what they do, unfortunately.
Chris, your thoughts on the Battle of Pennsylvania as a man who used to live in Pittsburgh?
It really does come down to who has a better game between Barkley and Watt to me. Everything you guys said about Pittsburgh is true. You have to respect everything Tomlin has done and everything Watt is and has accomplished on the field. However, my biggest issue is with Rod claiming he's going to be a Steeler fan if the Colts lose. I just have a problem with that, considering Pittsburgh cheated Indianapolis out of a Super Bowl appearance back in the day, and I can't believe Rod has forgotten or forgiven them for that fact.
Listen, they cheated us out of one, and then we almost had another with Captain Comeback and Harbaugh. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, listen, Chris, such is football, all right? Such is football. I just remember the good times that the Colts give me, all right? I don't focus on the losses. I don't know about you.
It's called revenge, Rod, and it will be ours.
That's also so not true. I do nothing but focus on the losses. You know what we're not going to focus on? The losses that Williams has unfortunately stacked up the last couple of weeks. We're going to look at this week as a positive. He's rolling with the big games. He's got Pittsburgh. He's got the Colts. He's got Buffalo. Williams, anything else you got for us?
Yeah, one last thing on that game. I think Buffalo and Detroit is going to be super high scoring. I think this game, Pittsburgh and Philly, is going to be super low scoring.
And a Chris Boswell game again, right? The Steelers won a game already this year with just Boswell.
You're reading my mind here. I think the Steelers have a significant advantage in the kicking game. Chris Boswell has been borderline awesome this year. He's been the most underrated kicker in the league. Did you guys realize Boswell is 11 for 13 on kicks over 50 yards, while Jake Elliott is 0 for 5? And overall in the year, Boswell's 92%. Elliott's only 75% of his kicks have been made. So
I'm so sorry to do this, but listen, man, I had Boswell. Dropped him for the bye week because that's what we do in our league, right? I ain't sitting on 2 kickers. Of course, couldn't get Boswell back. Guess what kicker I did get, Mr. Williams? Jake Elliott. So you literally just talked about my kicking situation in fantasy football right there in a nutshell. I got no money left either, so I got to roll into the playoffs with Jake Elliott just like the Eagles have to.
Wins League.
You want me?
Jimmy, do you got an update for us on the Wins League
Yeah,
before we
I
close
got an
out
update
football?
on the Wins League. So here's the deal. I cannot believe I'm gonna come out of this not beating Chris. All right, Williams, of course, is the reigning defending 66 wins, no question. He's gonna win that one. Rod pulling away with 54 wins. Jimmy,
still 12 behind Williams, though. I still like to point that out. Still 12 behind Williams. That's how far and above Williams is doing. At least in the Wins League, he is showing his dominance.
The only thing I got.
I have 8 teams. 8 teams. I got 1 win. 1 last week. Now, listen, a couple of my teams run by. That's fine, whatever. But still, 1 win is horrible. You know what's even worse than that? Chris King getting 5 wins last week, more than he's had all season combined.
All Chris needed was a bunch of teams to go on by.
I am only 6 games ahead of Chris King right now. Do you know how pathetic that is? I think we all do.
I'm coming for you, Jimmy.
Wow. Listen, there we go. We've got many things to keep up with here when we talk about football on the Balls and Brew show. We got the Wins League to keep track of, not who's going to win, but who is going to come in last, who's going to be in the playoffs in the real NFL, and will Rod become a Pittsburgh Steelers fan? All of that in the weeks ahead. Williams, thank you so much for the football knowledge. Jimmy Jam, let's run a fast break before we get to Saturday night's main event. How's the tease?
Welcome to the Fast Break, the fastest 15 minutes in the NBA. We're going to get right into it. The reigning, defending champion of the Wins League. I may be only up by 6 in the NFL at Chris. I'm up by 46 in the Wins League. Here we go. Chris King, 105 wins on the season, 124 wins, and Jimmy, 133 wins. So, Rod, not too far away. Not too bad, Rod. However, I'm still the champion there. What a great, what a life I lead in the NBA. You know,
I love it. We can start out the NBA show with you on a high after we have to close out a low of your football knowledge.
Yeah, I really like it, and I can change to there. But hey, we've got a tournament. We have a Final Four going on. Who cares about the college football playoffs? We've got the Emirates NBA Cup. Yes, we have the Bucks and the Hawks, who everyone here picked to get this far. And then we have OKC and the Rockets. So, Rod, my question to you is, what happened in the Rockets-Warriors game? I've watched it. I was told what happened. I still don't know what happened.
Jimmy, listen, I wish that I could come on and have some sort of answer for you. Well, yeah, no, according to this or this. No, I got nothing for you. I was just as confused as everybody else in that game. I got to admit, I don't hate that the Rockets came out on top because we kind of have a Red River rivalry budding here between Oklahoma City and Houston. We've already seen a really, really good game played between them. We have two young teams. The NBA is desperate for games that matter in the regular season, and outside of the Emirates NBA Cup, we're going to need rivalries, and these two teams might just have it. So I'm bummed for my guy Steph. I'm bummed for my guy Steph Curry. Steph and Steve Curry. Steve Kerr. That's what I meant to do there. Goodness gracious. I got all turned around there. Bummed for both of those people. But it happens, right? I mean, honestly, we've seen bad officiating in the NBA. We've talked about it. Chris brought it up again recently in the NFL. You know, officials' mistakes are going to be made. I'm not mad that it's going to be Rockets OKC because that's going to be a great game. And the Warriors took some collateral damage. But guess what? They've won a bunch of titles in the last 10 years. So I think they're going to be okay.
They'll be okay.
You want to know what they should have done? If the Warriors really wanted to win, you don't turn the ball over 22 times in the game or go scoreless for the last 3 minutes. All right, get one bucket in those 3 minutes. You don't have that big of an issue.
It's kind of like if you don't want someone planting your flag on the field, you don't need to make a law, just win the game.
Exactly.
That would be good too. How about those Hawks? Listen, we talked about it last week. Trae Young playing how he needs to be playing. Those frisky Hawks are there. Is this, though, kind of a Pacers rehash of last year where they're going to maybe go to the championship, win or lose, but then kind of fall off, Chris?
I think it's personal, Jim. I think Trae Young has listened to our podcast. He has heard Rod talk so much smack about him that he has taken it personal, and he is refusing to allow the Hawks to slip into obscurity just to prove Rod wrong.
Speaking of Rod and getting angry, hey, it's that time, as we always love. It is the Rod Damnation of the week.
We have to do something about this situation. The momentum is dying. I don't understand no more distractions, but I do believe we should all follow one path in life. Hubris and ego and pride. Sorry, all that was a complete lie. And quite frankly, Chris, you set me up there. Rod Damnation goes out to Trae Young. Trae, what are you doing? What are you doing here? Why are you all of a sudden magnanimous? I'm just everybody's teammate. Well, I mean, why did we decide that we are going to distribute the ball? Why are we passing? Does it have something to do with the fact that you have finally accepted that you're also losing your hair? And so an acceptance of that is meaning that you're having to do something different in your game on the court? I don't know. But Trae, quite frankly, I'm mad at you. I knew who you were. I'd seen you for all the years of your career. I saw you when you played at Oklahoma. You've been the same player. Me, I. Let me dribble and get mine. I can get us back. I can bring us back. And now, all of a sudden, you're distributing the ball. I don't get it. I guess I have to give shout-outs to Quinn Snyder. I guess I have to give shouts to his teammates. I guess I have to give shouts to you, Trae Young. But quite frankly, I'm angry about it. I don't want to have to do that. I was 100% certain I knew who you were and the type of player you were, and I guess I'm not familiar with your new game. So Trae Young, in a way of praising you, I am Rod Nation angry at you because you have somehow become a different player, and that doesn't happen for someone in the NBA as far advanced as you currently are, sir.
Chris, defend Trae Young.
He is doing everything Rod wanted him to do, and he is performing in a way that Rod was upset he wasn't performing. I mean, how's the guy supposed to win here, Rod? I mean, you've been
Rod.
No, listen, he's absolutely doing it. He's proven me 100% wrong, and that's why I'm angry about it. That's why I'm angry about it. He's proven me wrong. He's distributing the ball, right? It's not sticking with him. He's not just dribbling behind his back and between his legs and trying to go around and go at everybody. He's moving the ball. And shocking has come back to him. He's hitting some three-pointers. And then other than that, he's getting guys open for shots, and the Hawks are winning games. That's what matters here. The Hawks are winning games. Before, they never won a lot of games. They just kind of existed, and now they're winning games. So
this is also furthering the notion that whenever we come down on a player on this podcast, they turn around and prove us wrong almost instantly.
That's true.
And then let's talk OKC Rockets here real quick. I love this matchup. I think it's fantastic. Is this a sign of things to come for the next few years? Not necessarily in December, but in June.
I think there's a very good chance that these guys are going to match up in the playoffs later this year. And my only question is, are the Rockets going to have an alpha on their team by that point, Jimmy? Are the Rockets going to have a little guy, not a little guy, I suppose. He's about 6'6", 6'5", but he's from Turnbull, Texas, and he really likes that country music. And we just had our guy, Shams Charania, float that this man would accept a trade to the Houston Rockets. So my question is, will this rivalry get even spicier when playoff Jimmy Butler comes to town? That's what I think. That's what I want to see.
Chris, would you accept a trade to the Houston Rockets?
I don't think I could accept a trade to the Houston Rockets. I also don't think Houston should try and trade for Butler. In what Udoka has been doing down there with the talent and the players he has, would bringing in a ultra type personality that is Jimmy Butler be the right thing for this team?
Let me put it to you this way, Chris. You can add Jimmy Butler to Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks, who are already kind of vet types, right? And you can get rid of some guys who are going to look good to the Heat, but you don't play. Like, Chris, let me ask you, if you're a Rockets fan, are you sad about Cam Whitmore going out of town? Cam Whitmore's not even really playing all that much for you, right? And like, sure, Jabari Smith Jr. was a high pick and seems like he might be a good player, but you still have Şengün. You still have Eason in town there. You'd still have the Thompson twin. You know what I mean? Like, the Rockets have guys they can ship out and still be a good team with veterans when Jimmy comes there.
Do you think Miami wants those guys?
I think they'd rather get something than nothing if Jimmy wants out of town.
Well, we also have to remember Jimmy Butler makes $48 million this season, and obviously there's a lot of stuff going on with the salary cap, but I mean, Steven Adams, Jabari Smith, and Cam Whitmore are only 25 of 48. So, I mean, Dylan Brooks might actually have to be in that trade just to make salaries match, and actually that is exactly what would have to happen in that case. So that's really, I mean, if you take Brooks, Adams, Smith, and Whitmore, that's a lot of your depth and youth going out for maybe a 1 year, most likely a 2 year. I don't think Butler's going to, opt out of his $50 million.
Yeah, not if he makes it to Houston. But I'm just saying, Chris, if you're Miami, you take a Whitmore and a Jabari Smith Jr., right? You don't have much else going on Miami. You take a flyer on those guys, wouldn't you?
I'm just saying, I don't think that works out in Houston's favor in any way, shape, or form. I don't know if there's a lot of teams that Jimmy Butler actually works out for.
What about the team Houston just beat then? What about the team Houston just beat? Jimmy, I'm sorry, I'm kind of asking the questions here, but
fine.
I think Golden State would be the only other place that Butler could go to.
Yeah, Golden State needs a player like Jimmy Butler, that's for sure.
But I mean, I just think you could have like your guy Trace Jackson Davis could be included in there. Maybe the Warriors decide to dump Podziemski. Maybe Wiggins goes, right, because he's got a decent, semi-bloated salary. Like, I just think there's pieces that the Warriors can move out, right? Like, Buddy Hield is looking good again. You know what I mean? Like, that's another reason I think Steve Kerr's playing all these guys, because I think either Houston or Golden State, right? They're both out in the West, and they're locked in an Old West duel, right? They're coming at each other, and both of them are waiting to see who pulls the trigger first and gets somebody to their team. And I think that somebody's Jimmy Butler.
So we are looking at the Kings hardwood hierarchy.
So I am keeping this NBA Cup centric because we are an NBA podcast and I do enjoy the NBA Cup, all right? And because it's NBA Cup centric, that means I have to put Milwaukee at the top of this list, all right? They have came out and played phenomenally throughout this entire Cup series so far. They have beaten and accomplished everything. Giannis is playing the best of his career. Him and Lillard are playing the best together that they've ever played in the year that they've been to. So Milwaukee's the king right now.
I just want to say the most consistent team throughout the entire season has been the Cleveland Cavaliers, including on the King's hardwood hierarchy. This is the first time they have not been the king. Well, I guess week 1 was kind of just a few games there, but week 2 through week 6, they have been the kings. The Bucks were actually the jester in week 2, so they've kind of come all the way back up. So good on you, Bucks. Good way to go.
Yeah, and
good on you, Jimmy, for having the hardwood hierarchy notes at hand. That's why he's the best producer in the business, folks.
Those are facts, all facts. Which brings me to OKC. They're the queen. I think that's who's going to win this matchup now. Houston's right there. I do like this rivalry just like you guys do. I think that's good for the NBA, and that's good for fans in those areas too. So I just think OKC still gets it done in this next matchup, so I'm putting them at the queen, and then I am putting Houston as the prince because they have impressed me throughout this cup as well.
We gave Atlanta their flowers a little earlier. That's fair.
Yeah, so we have the Bucks, OKC, and the Rockets. I do not believe the Hawks are going to be your jester. What team in this NBA Cup has done the worst, Chris? Or most disappointing, sorry. How would you like me to serve this up to you, Chris?
So I'm going to get pushback, I already know. But it's really because of some of the things that may have been said on this podcast in the past. And if a team goes out and be like, we don't care about the cup, we don't care about this game, we're looking at the other champion. That's not what the NBA wants to hear, is it, Rod? No, the NBA wants to see teams attempting to win this cup, making it mean something, getting their fans behind it. And when you have teams lose in the rounds and be like, we're not worried about it, I got to give you the jester. That's the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, I figured you were going to do that. Now, of course, it's going to be the Boston Celtics. That's so funny. So, Chris, I think
only chance you're ever going to get to put the Celtics at jester, and you just took it.
I knew he was going to go the Celtics with that.
Oh, my goodness.
The thing is, though, it's
Jimmy, make sure you write down on your little note there of the hardwood hierarchy that was an NBA Cup centric, so that doesn't get written down that the Celtics actually earned a real jester, because that's ridiculous.
So the problem is,
also, Chris, I don't speak for the Boston Celtics.
The Final Four is very competitive and everybody wants to win it. I mean, it really, really is, right? Because now they want to win. It's getting there that is the problem right now because, yes, the courts are different color. And by the way, some of these courts are horrendous. Like that Houston court, what are we doing? I get it's different, but come on, people. They have to figure out a way to make the games leading up to it a little bit more competitive.
I think it's got to stay in division, Jim. That's the thing that I've heard thrown out that I like, right? Let's not have the weird groups that the teams just get thrown in at the beginning of the year. Let's just have you play within your division because then that makes the games even more, right? Because supposedly you still care about winning your division. So let's keep them there. Easier for the teams to play them. You know what I mean? And then let's feed it out from there.
That's what I was going to say. So we could actually figure out what teams are in what division then.
Yeah.
And while it's a joke, no one really knows. It actually would help figure out what teams are in what division in that case, because the NBA is so unlike any other sport that it really doesn't matter what division you're in.
No. Who's in the Atlantic? Who's in the Pacific? I have no idea.
I don't even know where those are. And with that, you've been listening to Balls and Brew on the Morgan Knows Podcasting Network. We've got Saturday night's main event coming up real soon.
And Jalen Brunson. Loved your quote about people asking you, should you be worried about Trae Young dancing on the logo? And you just looked at the camera and said, nah, we should have beat him then if we don't want him dancing on the logo. More of that. Thank you, Jalen Brunson.
You going to say goodbye, Internet? Or
goodbye, Internet.
Asking questions. It's kind of what Chris, what we do a podcast. I know. Last time I jumped on you and that's really.
I take my rightful place at the head of the table. Believe that.
Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the Morgan Knows Podcasting Network. Is the 1980s. We're going old school. We're talking Jesse Ventura. We're talking fun red, white, and blue ropes. We're talking awesome music. And are we talking the Winged Eagle belt? I think we are. It is Saturday night's main event. Rod, Chris, talk to me, Rod.
I'm excited. I hope NBC has a delay set up because Jesse Ventura is going to undoubtedly say something beyond the pale. So let's be ready for that. He's going to be also incredible, though, because he was great as a heel broadcaster, one of the first heel broadcasters in the wrestling game. Excited about that. Jesse let slip on Simmons's podcast. That's the Bill Simmons podcast for you Bill Simmons fans out there, that they're doing away with the big Titantrons and a lot of the explosions and stuff. And the guys are just kind of going to be coming out through the crowd. It's going to be real, actual old school. And the prize fighter, Kevin Owens, fits that motif. I love that. We'll get there when we talk about that match. But I'm excited, Jim, that this is on NBC. I hope it does a good number. And I hope it brings some eyes to wrestling because this is a consistent, entertaining product. And this is a time during the holidays. And I hope they get a good number. I can't believe I'm talking about TV numbers, but I really do hope they get a good number.
Well, I think this is just a prelude to the numbers they're going to get on Netflix. Because remember, that's global. The numbers on Netflix are going to be pretty big. Probably not going to freeze like the Tyson Paul fight did, but it'd still be pretty big. Chris, now I know you were a little older when Saturday Night's Main Event debuted in the 80s, but what do you remember from that?
The first match I saw was Coco Beware, and it was phenomenal. I want to see high-flying, spectacular, shocking feats that you normally would only see maybe during PLEs, right? We need shocking. We need extraordinary. I cannot wait. I think something big will happen. I think a major belt will probably change hands, possibly. Let's hope. I think it's going to be crazy.
So we have to talk a little bit about Saturday Night's Main Event and what it was, because there have been Saturday Night's Main Events since the 1980s. They did a couple of specials over the years, but they were always tape shows and they really weren't anything special. This is going old school. This is going back where it was. We're talking Honky Tonk Man throwing Miss Elizabeth to the ground. Her dress breaks. She's crying. She runs back to the back. And who does she get to help Macho Man Randy Savage? None other than Hulk Hogan, who had no idea what was going on, but then looked at the ring and said, that's not right. And the forming of the Mega Powers. You know, we're talking about Hogan and Paul Orndorff going down at the same time on the cage. We're talking Jesse Ventura. We're talking Gorilla Monsoon. Probably not going to be there. Okay? Probably not going to be there. We're talking Vince McMahon. Probably not going to be there. Not going to lie. I don't think he's going to be on commentary either. It's going to be a blast. And I think you're right, Chris. I think something huge is going to happen.
You took some wind out of my sails there, Jim, because I was going to bring it up a little bit later. But I'm glad you mentioned the Mega Powers, because I think we might see something to that effect. Rollins, McIntyre, unite, a brand new Mega Powers running roughshod over the WWE. Rod, what do you think?
I'm not against it. I'm not gonna shut it down at hand, because why would I say that I don't want a 6'8" chiseled from stone angry Scotsman on my team? So I'm absolutely not gonna turn him down. But I don't know. I really want my guy Seth to beat the crap out of Phil. Chris, you know that. That's really what I want my guy Seth to do, is beat the crap out of Phil.
And he could. I don't think that's going to happen. Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. I think this is going to be a terrific matchup. They're going to go back and forth a lot. I think McIntyre's got to get the win, because McIntyre's such a heel and bad guy, and Sami Zayn is untouchable. So I think McIntyre gets the win here, Chris.
How is Sami Zayn untouchable? I still don't understand it.
No. As far as people love him, they don't care if he wins or loses. That's why.
Yeah, he can't beat Drew McIntyre in a match, let's be honest. It's Drew all the way.
Yeah, because of the two, he's probably not the better wrestler. Yeah, you're right. That's true. What are
Jimmy,
you talking about?
I have one point I want to make after I bring up my prediction here. But my prediction, I can't help but harken back to you and I were first starting out on this journey, Jim. Our good dear friend Brett McNeil had a few things come up, and he was no longer able to continue with you on the wrestling show. And I kind of started to pop into wrestling during the end of COVID, right? Because there wasn't much else on TV. That's kind of how
5 years ago, by the way. Think about that for a second.
Exactly. That's kind of how this thing was born. And Sami Zayn was a guy filming a documentary because the WWE had a conspiracy against him at that time. He was kind of lost out in the wilderness, right? Then he comes back and he's got this feud going on with Johnny Knoxville. But also in between there was this period where Sami Zayn was a complete coward and wouldn't fight anybody. And there was a Monday Night Raw storyline where he was supposed to fight Drew McIntyre, and Sami wouldn't even come out of the second row of the balcony, right? And that's the WWE for you, is what I'm saying there, Jim, right? Is that if you watch long enough, you're going to see things like that where you're like, hey, I remember Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn, where Sami Zayn was so afraid of him, he didn't even want to step in the ring with him. And now on Saturday night's main event, we're supposed to believe that Sami could take out Drew. But I'm with you, Jimmy. Drew has to win this year. And the point I want to bring up in the grand scheme of all WWE is, are we now living in a Triple H world, Jimmy, where every storyline is someone saying, I'm telling you the truth, everyone else is lying? Because we have the New Day doing it, we have Drew McIntyre doing it, we have KO and Cody's story built around it, right? I mean, is that the only way we can tell stories now?
Attitude era, ruthless aggression era, truth teller era. That's what we have. It's fine. No problem at all. Women's United States Championship match. Now, we don't know the competitors yet, but I mean, we kind of do. It's Bayley or Chelsea Green versus Michin or Tiffany Stratton. I want it to happen, and I think it's going to happen. I think Chelsea Green's winning the championship, right?
Absolutely. Let's go, okay? Jimmy, we talk about it an awful lot. Chris doesn't like to talk about this aspect, and that's why we are a great triumphant, right? Chris likes to talk about big, meaty men bashing meat in the ring and great matches, right? Chris doesn't like to talk about the people that actually make wrestling go, right? And you have to have characters like Chelsea Green. Bam. You just can't. You can't exist as a professional wrestling entertainment product on TV without heels like Chelsea Green. So she deserves to get a little taste, right? She's got to get a little something thrown her way. I'll bring it back to basketball here, right? When you got a big man who's hitting the boards and blocking shots for you, every once in a while, you got to dump him a feed in the post and give him a dunk, right? This is what you do for Chelsea Green here. You let her be the inaugural U.S. champ, let her run with it for a couple of weeks. It gets to be on her resume every other time that you introduce her in a feud that you're talking about, right? They'll bring up that she was the first ever women's United States champion, so it'll make her seem great when she's laying on her back to get somebody else over. So that's why you have to give it to Chelsea Green here.
So, wait, now, Rod, the truth teller era, right? So does Chelsea Green win this and say, hey, finally, I can stop being the stupid, character I was. I can stop being someone who just loses to get on television. This is who I am. This is what I do. I am the new dominant champion. Can we have that?
I think that would hurt her Instagram followers, right? Because I think she really gets a lot of run on social media with that Chelsea Green character. She really, really does.
She gets runs for other reasons as well.
Well, yeah, that's very true.
Chris.
It's kind of hard to be Shayna Baszler, right? Which is essentially the angle you're talking about here, right? It's kind of hard to be Shayna Baszler and saying, hey, look how hot I am. Like, I don't know how those two things are going to go together.
Chris King.
I could maybe only think of one other person that could be a more annoying champion than Chelsea Green. That being said, I could be for it. I don't know who I would want her to beat maybe, though. Would that be like a Tiffy time type feud with her and Chelsea Green? Would that work out? I mean, they're both similar in their aspects of a character, right?
So I think something happens where Tiffany loses not the cleanest ever. Something's going to happen where Michin gets the win there, and then we have the Chelsea Green over Michin, because I think that'll be a better match too right now, honestly.
Do we
Tiffy
see
Time's on the rocket ship to the top, baby? Tiffy Time's on the rocket ship to the top. The next time she does something, she cashes in the belt for the belt. Or the case for the belt, excuse me.
You think it's going to be a major belt and not like the United States or Intercontinental title?
Dude, the pop that she's getting right now, Tiffy's pop is up there for any female that hits the ring at this point. So
I really think they did that with Austin Theory just because they didn't really want him to, because no one thought he was going to win. Like, he was not going to win. And,
Jimmy, we talked about it in Austin Theory's defense. We talked about it at the time. He also fell victim to the Roman Reigns of it all, right? Like,
of course.
I mean, you weren't going to take Roman Reigns down for Austin Theory, right? Had somebody else been champion, maybe it could have been different for Austin Theory. Because I still believe in Austin Theory. The guy can wrestle his ass off.
I loved after Survivor Series in the press conference, they asked Io Sky, hey, are you worried about, Liv Morgan's and the Judgment Day? Do you have anybody that's going to help you? And Io's like, I'm in a group. I'm in Damage Control, so it's okay. I thought that was really funny on her end, and I think Io Sky is definitely not going to win the Women's Championship. Liv Morgan's going to take this one, Chris King.
Yeah, I think it stays with Liv. I think I don't think there's another way to keep this story moving forward without her having the belt for the time being. And again, I also am with those reporters. I think Io Sky is better without the party crashers, right? I just do. I think we have private first class, whatever that PFC group is with Shayna Baszler.
No, it's not. Listen, here's the deal. No. I'm not even going to make fun of you because I forget the name all the time, too. It's private first class from now on. I don't even care. Party crashers versus private first class.
Anyways, Io Sky, I think it would be better without the party crashers because I do enjoy her in the ring working with Rhea Ripley. I like that dynamic. I really enjoy that. I think she's better off without the party crashers.
Okay, Rod.
Jimmy, I'm sorry that I'm going to spoil something right now. I'd imagine next week or sometime in the coming weeks, we will give away our Wrestler of the Year awards, right?
Yep.
Or Yeah, We Know He's, as we call it. And I'm just going to tell the people right now, Wrestler of the Year female, Liv Morgan. Hands down, boom. She had an absolute banner calendar year, helped carry the WWE. Now, I understand Rhea Ripley was involved, but you're part of the storyline, right? It takes two to tango in a WWE storyline. Liv Morgan was involved at storyline after storyline that was closing Raw and SmackDown and almost main eventing premium live events. And I also hate that it comes down to this for me, but she didn't get hurt. Okay. In this business, that means something, right? You figured out a way to get through these matches and you were lucky enough that you didn't get hurt and you kept appearing to keep the momentum up. So Liv Morgan's the Wrestler of the Year for me, female, and she's absolutely winning this match.
We have the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match between Gunther, Finn Balor, and Damian Priest. Finn Balor is going to win the World Championship. That is going to be the big belt that changes hands. This is the beginning of the ascent of Finn Balor back to where he should be and always will be as top of the order. Finn Balor wins by pinning Damian Priest. Rod. Chris, go ahead, Chris.
No, I think Gunther takes this. I think you do get Finn Balor over Damian Priest. I do like that little tidbit you threw, but I think Gunther takes this. I think they're still pushing Gunther hard.
Jimmy, do you believe that, or is that Jimmy's fandom taking over with that little narrative that you just spun for us? Like,
I think there's a little bit of Chris in there. Well, here's the thing: if it depends what they want to do with Gunther moving forward. If they want to make him a face, a good way to go about that is having him get screwed over for the title, so he never lost the title. He didn't get pinned for it, so then they can go on that, and maybe he can win that back coming up at Royal Rumble or something like that. It doesn't have to be a long title reign. I don't know, but there's something I think big's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen in the main event, but who?
You know what? Listen, I ask you these questions from time to time because I hope the listeners want to further my knowledge as well. And you just made a good point there. We talk about how you have to go with the crowd. And the crowd loves Gunther, right? So it's getting harder and harder for him to play the heel. So he got rid of Ludwig Kaiser, right? Like we've seen that, right? He did the whole pushing him off, right? He seemed a bit more human at times. So you could really be onto something here. I guess I'm just like, it just seems so out of nowhere for it to all of a sudden be Finn. And I get it. I've been around for Demon Finn Balor. I've seen the NXT Finn Balor runs. I know he was the first ever Universal Champion. The guy can flat wrestle, but like the weird purple and like kind of look like I'm a white rapper at times, like gimmick that he's had going on. Like, I don't understand it. And now all of a sudden he's going to be champ. But Jim, you could be right. But I think the surprise is going to come as an actual big surprise. And maybe that's the next match you want to talk about right now. Because I'm going with Gunther here. I think Gunther wipes the floor with him and continues as champ.
I cannot wait for Cody Rhodes again and Kevin Owens. Two of my favorite wrestlers. Kevin Owens, obviously my favorite. Fight Owens fight. Let's go. I think this is going to be a terrific matchup. Cody will come out with that gold and the Winged Eagle belt, the old school championship belt. That's going to look terrific on him. This is a match that, listen, Kevin Owens could win. He could. I think Cody Rhodes is going to win. We're going to go to Chris, then we'll go to Rod. Chris.
The road's closed, Jim. Nowhere else for this story to go.
And with that, you've been okay. All right. No, the story is over. The book has ended. This is the final page.
Yep.
Kudos.
The roads are closed. I'm sorry. He's going to come out with that winged belt, and that's the only time he's going to be able to wear it because he's going to lose it right away, Jim. It's going to look so good on him, he's not going to be able to get it back.
Okay. Rod, talk to me. What's happening?
I am choosing fandom. Okay? I'm choosing fandom. My guy Chris has really opened my eyes to just a new way of being, right? I'm far less anxious. I'm far less bubble guts going when I'm not trying for my takes to be right, when I'm not trying to outthink it, when I'm just a fan. And darn it, I find Cody Rhodes boring as all hell. I think it would be cool as shit. I'm sorry, I don't curse on this podcast all that often, but it would be cool as shit for Kevin Owens to beat the crap out of him on NBC on Saturday night's main event with Jesse the Body Ventura going crazy on color commentary and the WWE being thrown in asunder as we head into Christmas and the New Year and the Royal Rumble, and we have zero idea of who the belt is going to be on at WrestleMania. We have zero idea of who's going to win the Royal Rumble and face whoever has the belt. And we just have this like 5-6 guy thing circling, right? We got Cody, we got Drew, we got Seth, we got Sammy, we got CM Punk, right? That's what I foresee. And the way to start it all is if the Golden Boy goes down in a bloody mess on NBC. Give me fight, Owens, fight.
Wow, a bloody mess. I don't know if
You
NBC
said it
will
yourself,
allow
Jim.
that.
Old school. What's more old school than somebody blading themselves? Cody already did it with The Rock. I think Cody's going to be a bloody mess, and KO's walking out with the belt telling everybody, I told you so.
And with that, you've been listening to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the Morgan Knows Podcast Network. In the ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod.
Goodbye, net. Yeah.
Shout out to Shinsuke. Your new entrance is chef's kiss.